If you've ever wondered how to get from here to here, it's a long story. But if you want it bad enough, it's worth it. This is the long story of how my friends and I went from the backyard to running professional wrestling shows. This is Backyard Wrestling Cinema.
Alright, so it all has to start somewhere. For me, it started in my room, competing against this guy for this title, and later, this title. And from there, I moved into this backyard. This is the house I grew up in, and eventually, my friend and I who lived in this house competed in this spot right here, with this as our ring ropes. Now as a kid, I had a Tyco video camera, which just was a black and white camera, but unfortunately, you had to connect it to a VCR, so there was very little footage I was able to get because the cable just didn't reach that far. So this was around 1997, 1998, 1999. If you didn't grow up in the 90s, you really missed out.
And we say, goodbye 80s, hello 90s.
Welcome to Blockbuster Video.
Destination, Planet Hollywood.
How do you find?
Tamagotchi, the original virtual reality pet.
What's 1700?
Diana, Princess of Wales.
Simpson surrendered to police just a few minutes ago.
And the words that are coming out of my mouth.
I did not relations with that woman.
The most anticipated motion picture of all time, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Win the latest console war. The Y2K computer bug.
Now that's video power.
The X-Men.
The dream of a teenage witch.
Beverly Hills
The season premiere of
90210.
In Living Color.
Street Fighter 2 from the arcade. Morphin Power Rangers.
The real world.
MTV Movie Award.
You gotta remember, back in the late 90s, there was no cell phones. You could stay out as late as you want. My parents had one rule in the summer. You had to get the f out of the house. But unfortunately for me, that meant playing with my wrestling figures right under this awning of the house.
Oh my God, it's gold dust. I can't believe it. It's been years. Days.
I truly believe that's where I kind of got the interest in becoming a wrestling booker. And I think that's where it starts for a lot of people.
Here, because we are not going to have it broken.
I
one
know,
more
I don't
time.
want to get hit.
A gentle mist has seemed to fall over the crowd tonight.
The Rainmaster.
Quick! Get him away from me! Get him away from me!
So between my neighbor and my best friend, we had about 4 people so we could run this wrestling promotion. Now, we would portray WWF guys. We had our own characters. Myself, I was called X, and my best friend was called Shave. Very original, I know. Unfortunately, in 1999, my best friend moved away to the other side of town, which, for a young kid, when you don't have a car, that might as well have been to another state. So the year's 1999. Tom Green, the CKY tapes are out. Before I knew it, it was 2000. And MTV's Jackass became a thing.
Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville. Welcome to Jackass.
I started going around with a camera and filming my friends, just being stupid and goofy.
Look at that dude.
Here I am walking. Here we go.
Poor Lucy.
I hope we can find it.
Let's try.
Or half a leash, because I really need to get one.
Yeah.
Alright, we won't buy that yet.
We'll put that back for now.
So the people you're seeing in this video, the person behind the camera, his name was Jim Kuby. And the person who you see briefly in the background, his name was Ricky. We used to call him Little Ricky. And myself, Little Ricky, and Jim Kuby, we all really liked pro wrestling. It was still kind of at the height of its popularity. But we really weren't doing any wrestling-related activities just yet.
Not close, so here we go.
Hey, no thoroughbred. Yeah? She gonna do it? No. No.
Okay. Thank you anyway.
No.
And a lot of other neighborhood kids were doing the same thing around that time.
Well, obviously he didn't make it, so next up, Nick Heathley. Well, Nick, all you gotta do is follow one simple rule. Not make it two simple rules to win this money. First, you gotta make it down the hill. Second, you gotta be in a dress.
Around this time, a new kid moved to our development. His name was Slug, and he lived right here.
All right, let me just stop there because I know I'm going to get a lot of questions about why somebody was named Slug. So the story goes, we were in the cafeteria in high school, and I was in conversation with somebody else, and Slug kept poking me on the shoulder. And I was talking about all the nicknames I had given people over the years. And he's saying, I want a nickname, just pestering me, annoying me, trying to be funny. So I just looked at him and said, Slug, and kept talking. And the look on his face just drained as he realized this could potentially be his new nickname. And from that day forward, everybody in high school called him Slug. Also, I've known him for over 20 years. I could not tell you without really thinking about it what his first and last name is. Okay, let's go back to the story.
So between myself, Little Ricky, and his friend, and then Slug, we now had 4 people, which is more people than we used to have. And I began to think, maybe we could start a promotion with that. The only issue was we're growing up in this Sue Happy age here. So my parents didn't want us wrestling in their backyard. Slug didn't want us wrestling in his. So we ended up going to a little plot of land. Directly between where Slug and myself lived was this plot of land called the Horseshoe. And that's where our story begins.